Good morning. I wanted to get on here and just share a book that has been really helpful for me as a mom and as an educator of my children. And that book is called The 7 Keys to Comprehension: How to Help Your Kids Read It and Get It by Susan Zimmerman and Chris Hutchins. Now, if you've never read this book, this is an excellent book to read. It helps you to teach your children, or lead your children rather, in reading comprehension. Reading is does not just have to do with phonetically reading or reading by sight. That is the start of it. Reading has to go beyond that. And I'm seeing in our society a lot of people who know how to read in terms of phonetically. They can sound out the words, they can remember what a word is and that sort of thing, but they don't comprehend what they're reading very well. And that is a key to growing and learning and becoming successful in life. And so this book has really, really helped me as a parent and an educator. I don't know about you, but I have always struggled with the subjects of history, English, those social science classes. I never found it easy. It wasn't intuitive to me to pick up on themes or imagery or anything like that. I'm more very structured. I think very structured in a structured way. And I actually believe everybody thinks that way. It's just that some things come easier to people than others, and so they don't really notice it. That's a whole different topic. But nevertheless, this has really helped me because I've never been really strong in English or history or anything like that. And this has really, really helped me. And so this book is a really good book for new moms who are just starting to homeschool, or teachers who are starting to teach their kids to read, or you need a book just to jump in. Even if you have kids in high school and you need a book to jump in to help you, to guide you in how to talk about your books, this is a really good starting book. Like, it's really good. And so I've started it with my kids, and it covers the 7 keys to proficient reading, which is create mental images, use background knowledge, ask questions, make inferences, determine the most important ideas or themes, synthesize information, use fix-up strategies. It is excellent book. Excellent. And so how I'm using it with my kids is I will read one chapter or one key, which is one chapter. And it goes into a lot of depth. It's really good. It's easy to read. It's not a hard book to read, but it has a lot of strategies to help you. So for instance, I have done the creating mental images. So what I did was I read this chapter and myself, and what I did was I got the basic idea of what I'm supposed to do, because there's a lot of ideas you can do in this book, in this chapter. And then I took that and I wrote just a little note on my school board for that day, and I said, okay, let's talk about this for this week. And I took that one idea, pick images in our mind, and that's what we did for a whole week. We just talked about what we're seeing in our reading. And so, for instance, we were reading about history, and I think it was the Aztecs, or was it somebody else? Anyways, it was some people group, or maybe it was Native Americans. But anyways, I asked them, so what word jumped out at you that created a mental picture? And my one child says the word nomadic came up. And I said, so what did that word do for you? And they said, it helped me to see a group of people moving across the land. And it was like a silhouette. It wasn't like really clearly defined pictures. It was just more of like a black silhouette in the distance. And I saw them moving across the land. I said, oh, that's wonderful. It's a great idea. I never thought about that. Another child said, well, this word brought this picture to my mind. And they described their picture. And it's really fascinating to hear what your children say about what pictures come in their minds. And then I found out that some parts of our reading were not creating pictures in their mind because it was harder to understand. So that was very enlightening. And so I'm now thinking about can I help my child to understand the harder readings so that they can get a better imagery. Because they said that when a child does not get the 7 keys, they struggle in understanding and they struggle in expressing themselves, whether it's written or in speaking. And so this has been a really, really helpful book. So I'm going through this book very slowly because that's just how I can do it. And I do one chapter about once a week or maybe every 2 weeks, and we'll cover it. And it's just been really, really helpful. And they go into each chapter, each key goes into how you can go about discussing each key with your children, what you can do for beginner readers, what you can do for emerging readers, and what you can do for advanced readers. It also talks about, gives you ideas of how to go about each key in detail. So for instance, in making imagery, they have, I'm just going to look at here. They have questions that you can ask your child to help them get a better imagery in their mind about what they're reading. And there's a lot. It's just been really good. And they give you a lot of real life examples of how to go about doing this. So it's been a really good help for me. And I'm just trying to see if there's anything that I could share more about. I'm just going to say, just read the book. It's an excellent book. I wished I had read this at the beginning of my homeschooling. It would have saved me a whole lot of problems. It really would. It would have helped me to help my kids, my older kids, to learn their English much better. So, and this was recommended to me by my teacher, who oversees our homeschooling. So this has been a really good book. So just get it, read it, take it slow. It's amazing. You can start this book with pre-K kids and continue it up. It's a really good book. And there is another book I would recommend for the higher grades. But right now, this is my number one.